we are going to show you how to add a checklist. So on the left-hand side, you will see a module that says Forms. If you click onto Forms, you will see all active checklists that have been added to your Chime platform. You'll also be able to see any archive checklists that you've got on your Chime platform, and also you'll be able to see all active and archive checklists together in one list. If I click back to active, on the right hand side, you will see a new button. So if we click onto new, first thing that we're going to do is give the checklist a name. For this example, we're going to call this daily welfare check. And then you'll see just below this, you'll see that we've got add section. If we click on add section, this will be the first thing that comes up. You'll be able to edit the name of the section by clicking on the pencil notification there. If we then change the title of that section for key details as OK, and then we have the option to add different fields. Anything that you see on the left-hand side, once you are editing this, will then show on the preview side on the right-hand side. So the first question that we're going to ask is name. As you can see there on the right-hand side, that has already come up. And then we have different options of the type. So for name, what we would normally use is either a single line text box or a multi-line text box. And also we have the option, if the guys are already added to Chime, we can select regarding employee. If we select regarding employee, then when we come to doing the checklist, you'll be able to search for that person. Just below regarding the employee, you'll see a required toggle. If we select required here, you'll see that a red asterisk has now come up on the preview. This means that this question must be answered for you to complete the checklist. So if we click OK there, we're just going to add a few other options here. So the second option we're going to add is project/site. This is where if we scroll down a little bit further, we'll see the regarding project option. If I make that a required option, basically what this does is once you've selected a project, if you are signed into that project, any checklist that you do will then automatically go against the project. So if you are looking at a site on Chime Time, you'll be able to see any forms that have been completed on that site. So for a site manager or a contract manager, that could be very beneficial to see any checklists that have been done on that site. If we add a new field here, and for the final one of this section, we're going to call it date and time. Now we can click date and time there, required, yes, click OK. Now, that makes the first part of our first section. If I now add a new section, this will be a section underneath key details when filling in the checklist. If I call this welfare check. We now have the option like before where we can add a new field. So if I call this section, this field here is the kitchen clean and tidy. This is where we can use some of our other options. So for this sake, I would use red, amber, green. It now gives you a nice visual on your checklist, making sure that it's not all just words. You can have sort of a better visual when looking at the checklist. I'm going to make that required question. And I'm also going to say, are the toilet facilities clean? This is where you could add other options where you could click yes, no with photo. Click yes, no with photo on the right hand side. You'll see what this will then look like. Required, yes. And then finally, if I'm happy with that checklist and happy with the answers that have been given, I could also add a signature to this checklist. So if I select signature here, Right, okay. Once I'm happy with my checklist, if I want to start a checklist and want to then come back to it, if I haven't filled in all of the questions that I want to, then I can save this checklist and come back to it. And also, if I'm happy with the checklist, I can then click save and close. So once I've saved and closed that, if I now go to mobile app under checklists, I can now see all of the checklists that I have um, on my Chime environment. So I'm going to click on daily welfare check, which is the option that we've just added. If I click on there, if I search for contact and I search for Aaron Powell or Aaron Office, now that contact has been selected as Aaron Office, and under the project, if I have a option of selecting any of the sites that I want to sign into for this checklist. So I'm going to click on 123 Chime Software HQ, select the date and time, 20th of September, time of 11:09. If I just change that to 11:43, confirm. Now you can see the visual that we can now go with the red, amber, green. Click green tick, I'm happy with that. Yes, are the toilet facility clean? I can click yes. Toilets are clean. And then also I can either upload or take a photo here. So if I take a photo, for example, like I would of the toilet, I could then confirm and save. And then also finally, I have the option to enter a signature. So I can then enter the signature, give the full name, finish and close. Now I have the option to save and close and complete. So if I click save and close, for example, now that checklist will go into in progress. I can now go in and edit any of my answers that I've been given. If I've started this checklist at one point and then needed to come back to finish it, this is where I could then edit some of my answers if I needed to, but I could also then complete on my checklist. Once that has been completed, there's a few different things that I can do now. So first of all, I can click on view form. I can have a look at the answers that I've given, and I could also share this via WhatsApp or email, Teams, whatever it may be. I can do that there. If I go back and then click on continue, any completed checklists that I have now done by myself on my own mobile device, I could then see incompleted checklist and go back and review my answers at any time. I won't be able to edit the answers that I've given on the checklist, but if I needed to go back and prove that I had completed the checklist, I could do this here. And also on the web, if I just refresh here now on forms, if I go on to daily welfare check, I will now be able to see any answers that I've given on that checklist and be able to download these. Once I've downloaded it, it will then come into a PDF, and then I can then do as I wish and send this on if needed.